classic outdoor shed in white and gray. It comes in 4 boxes and each box is marked. This one has parts G and parts H. Box 2, we get the manual, a hardware box, 2 parts of letter D and 2 parts of letter C that you can distinguish by the letter up here. In box 3, we have parts A, B, E, and F, 2 of each. Box 4, we do have a bag of hardware. We have piece X1, X2 in 2 pieces, X3, and X4. To differentiate these pieces, you can notice that they will have a sticker somewhere labeled on the side. First step in assembling the shed is putting parts A with A together and B with B together. I've already assembled parts B and B together, and you can see we use parts T and the screws and bag labeled P. I've pre-assembled the third row, and I'm going to show you how to connect this one. It has 4 holes, and you need to line up with 4 holes that connect both of the pieces together. You want to lay that in the center. You also have these tabs on the sides to indicate where the bar goes. And then you want to get 4 of these screws that are labeled in the P bag and start screwing them in. We're done with step 1, connecting both A with A and B with B. Now we have to connect both A and B together. On the B side, you'll notice that we have these circles on the edge. Those line up with the holes on A with these sort of trapezoid shapes. And to get those lined up, you want to lay B on top. And once you see that's level, you can start putting in your screws from the P bag. This next step, we have to connect parts C with C together. And similar to the previous step, where we're going to use these 2 bars and the screws from the letter P bag, you want to notice that there's 4 holes, 1, 2, 3, 4, that line up with these sort of hooks. And you want to place that underneath. I'm going to get your bar. You'll also notice the tabs similar to the previous step, and you want to line those up and screw those in as well. Now we're ready for step 4. Step 4 says we have to align parts D with D together, similar to the previous step. So I'm going to line up the holes and hooks like I did last time, overlap them. Once those are lined up and snug, I'm going to grab my bar and my screws and screw them in. Now we're ready for the next step. In this part, we have to connect both parts F together, how we previously did, and also parts E. I've already connected parts F together, and I'm going to show you how to finish the last step on part E. You use the same bracket as before, the same screws from letter P bag. You line up the holes with the tabs, and then you screw those 4 in. The next step, we're instructed to connect panels A and B to panel H, which is on the floor. And you'll notice that we have these hooks on panels A and B that run all the way across, and we also have these holes for the hooks that have these slide inserts as well. So it seems like when you put it inside, you want to feel it fall in place, and then you want to pull towards the right. So I have it sitting on the edge. It's falling in place. Now I'm going to pull to the right. And now we're secure. In this next step, we're connecting panel D to A and B. And we connect D on the side of B right here. And you'll notice that we have holes on the bottom of H and hooks at the bottom of D. You want to line those up together. Make sure they fall on the hook. in the hook hole, and then you want to slide to the right to lock that in place. And then you're ready to screw in letter P screws from the inside. Between panels B and D, you'll notice that there's holes for screws, and you want to line those all up, and you want to screw those all in. So you get your letter P screw, and you start screwing them all in. Connecting panels C with panel A, and inserting it into panel H. So I'm going to grab it from the top. I'm going to make sure those holes line up. Once it's in place, I'm going to slide back. And now we're ready to screw in A and C. With the shed or part G, we do have to connect these V brackets. We do get 2 of them in the hardware box, and we connect them with these O-shaped O-letter screws. So you want to grab your Allen key. And I've taken the liberty of pre-installing the first one, and I'm going to install the next one with you. And you don't want to tighten it too much all the way, just in case you need to adjust. Ready to install the roof. The brackets we put on earlier are going to line up with these holes up here. So let me put the roof on for you real quick. And the roof, I'm going to put this overhead. I'm just going to make sure those line up. You want to line up these sides as well. And you may want to go behind and give it some pressure. And now we're ready to screw them in with the letter O screws. We're using the letter O screws to insert right here. And you want to tighten those up. And take your time. In this set, we're connecting parts U and the screws from bag Q together. And they're attaching the roof to the panels. I've previously installed 1, 2, and 3. And I'm going to connect the 4th and 5th with you. We'll be connecting brackets I to the sides of panels E and F. I've pre-installed the brackets on parts E, and I'm going to install the brackets on panels F with you. So I'll grab the screws from our bag letter O. I'm going to line up the bracket. I'm going to make sure these other holes are facing towards me, and I'm going to screw those in. On panel F, we do have these 2 holes right here. We have to connect parts K and Q together. So we put part K down, and it's on each side of panels F. And you want to use those Q letter screws to screw them in. In this step, we turn over our panels E and F, and we're going to install parts R, which are these locking brackets. I pre-installed 1 set, and I'm going to install this next step. And it's pretty easy. You'll notice that the holes just line up with each other. These 2 go right here, and these holes line up over here. So let's go ahead and get that settled in. Now we're connecting panel F to D using the brackets from earlier. And we're lining up the other 2 holes on the brackets with panels D. I've already pre-installed 2 of them for you, and I'll go ahead and install these next. If the holes don't line up, you want to just pull the bracket back, or even the door, until it lines up. And then you want to screw that in. You want to do the same thing with panels E and A, connecting together through the black brackets and using screws O. In this step, we're using part Q, and you see it has holes on each side. These holes go to the top and bottom of the shed, and they line up right here. And you want to screw them in with the screws and bag Q. So I'm going to get that started right now. Panel X1 with the screws labeled Y. And it actually connects with 2 holes down here. And I'm going to put those in right now. That we're installing X2 as a shelf to X1 that we installed earlier. And you'll notice that this part has notches on the top and no notches on the bottom. The notches slide in through here, and these plates rest on some mounts right here. And then Justin will hold it in place for me. And then we're going to screw in on the other side. This next step, we're installing X3 to X1. And you'll notice that this one also has notches. The notches should be facing this way to the and up. So Justin will hold it for me while I use the nuts and bolts that were provided in the bag to tighten it in place. We're connecting X2 to X3 that we installed earlier, and we make sure that the notches are also facing this way. So I'm going to have Justin hold it while I install the screws and nuts and bolts that were provided. Next step is to install X4, and you honestly just make it sit on top. Make sure the holes line up, and then you're ready to install it.